Hello and welcome to our Pechakucha discussing the ideology and political platform of the Soviet Union during its single-party state between the 1930s and 1950s by Matthew Moody, Cameron Riddick, and Ren Pallas.
Karl Marx was a Russian philosopher and economist. His ideology is known as Marxism. He worked greatly in economics, which laid for the basis for much of the understanding of labor and its relation to capital. He created Marxism with the help of Friedrich Engels.
The origin of Marxist methodology came from economic and socio-political inquiry, which is then used to critique the development of capitalism. Karl Marx, the co-founder of the ideology of communism, believed that socio-economic conflicts in our society were the driving force of human history, and thus he developed his terms of Marxism and what it encompasses.
Friedrich Engels was a close companion of Karl Marx. Both men shared almost identical theories and beliefs. Friedrich Engels was a famous French publisher, and he greatly helped Marx spread his ideas. Engels was able to complement Marx, for Marx was at his best when dealing with difficult, abstract concepts, and Engels had the ability to write for a mass audience.
The Marxist platform is outlined in the Communist Manifesto. This includes 10 goals created by Marx for developed countries such as the United States. He advocated for the goals of the Communist Manifesto by any means possible, including violent revolutions to bring about social dictatorship.
Vladimir Lenin was a Russian communist revolutionary, politician, and political theorist. He served as the head of government of the Soviet Union, where under his rule Russia became a one-party socialist state. He was ideologically a Marxist, and his political theories are known as Leninism.
Leninism is the body of political theory for the democratic organization of a revolutionary vanguard party and the achievement of a dictatorship of the proletariat as political prelude to the establishment of socialism. It was developed by the Russian revolutionary Vladimir Lenin.
George Lucas was a Hungarian Marxist philosopher, and he was one of the main philosophers behind the ideology of Leninism. He was also one of the founders of Western Marxism, and many of these Marxist ideas are prominent in Leninism. He ideologically developed and organized Lenin's pragmatic revolutionary practices into the form of philosophy. Leninism.
Leninism comprises socialist, political, and economic theories developed from Marxism, as well as Lenin's interpretations of Marxist theory for practical application to the socio-political conditions of the agrarian early 20th century Russian Empire. Marxism-Leninism is a political philosophy or a worldwide view founded on ideas of Marxism and Leninism, and it seeks to establish socialist states and develop them further. Marxists and Leninists espouse a wide variety of views depending on their understanding of Marxism and Leninism.
Originally and for a long time, the concept of a socialist society was regarded as equal to that of a communist society. However, it was Lenin who defined the difference between socialism and communism, explaining that they are similar to what Marx described with the lower and upper stages of communist society, thus forming the Marxist-Leninism philosophy.
The Marxism-Leninism platform revolved around the social aspect, economic aspect, political system, international relations, and theological systems. It promoted universal social welfare, improvements in public health and education, and many various things.
Joseph Stalin was the leader of the Soviet Union from the mid-1920s until his death in 1953. He held the post of the General Secretary of the Central Committee of the Communist Party of the Soviet Union, and he was effectively the dictator of the state. Stalin was able to manage the Bolshevik Revolution as well as the Russian Revolution. In a party dominated by intellectuals and rhetoricians, Stalin stood for a practical approach to revolution, devoid of ideological sentiment. Basic to Stalinism was the doctrine of socialism in one country, which held that a viable classless society could be built within Soviet boundaries despite encirclement by a largely capitalist world. Stalinism was the ideology and method of rule and policies of Joseph Stalin. He was a state leader of the Soviet Union and was the leader of the Communist Party. Stalin is associated with a regime of terror and totalitarian rule. During Vladimir Lenin's leadership of the Communist Party, the Central Committee functioned as the highest party authority between congresses. According to party rules, the Central Committee directed all party and government activities between each party congress.
The Communist Party of the Soviet Union followed many of the ideological concepts of Lenin and Marx, and was formalized under Joseph Stalin. The party pushed the idea of state socialism, under which all industries were nationalized and a planned economy was implemented. The platform of the Communist Party was made up of the collective leadership in the Soviet Union, the cult of personality exhibited mainly by Stalin, and the democratic centralism conceived by Lenin, and vanguardism.
Keep calm and drink vodka. The Bolsheviks, literally meaning one of the majority, were a faction of the Marxist Russian Social Democratic Labor Party, which split apart from the Menshevik faction at the Second Party Congress.
The Bolsheviks, founded by Vladimir Lenin and Alexander Bogdanov, were a major organization consisting primarily of workers under a democratic internal hierarchy governed by the principle of democratic centralism, who considered themselves the leaders of the revolutionary working class of Russia.
The Bolsheviks became the Communist Party of the Soviet Union. The Bolsheviks came to power in Russia during the October Revolution phase of the Russian Revolution, and they founded the Russian Soviet Federate Socialist Republic, which would become the chief constituent of the Soviet Union in 1922.